Okay, so in our last session, we have discussed about the internal storage, right? So up till now, we have covered two types or two ways to store the data in Android application. One is the set preferences. In that, one XML file is going to be created, and into that, in a key value pair, your data is going to be stored. Second one, we have discussed about the internal storage, right? So in that, in your device memory, your data is going to be stored. And we have also demonstrated one example and saw that where actually that particular data is being stored through the emulator, right? Now, today we are going to see one another way that is known as the external storage. Okay, so when you require this, so if your phone does not have enough memory, and nowadays as we capture lots of photos, videos and all other stuff, so in phone memory is not sufficient for us, right? So what we are doing, we are purchasing the external storage like in form of SD cards, right? And we are inserting the SD cards, and then we are going to store our data into that SD cards. So if you want such facility, then you have to go for this particular way. So every Android compatible device supports a shared external storage, right? So that you can use to save the files. Now this can be removable storage media such as SD card, or internal, that is non-removable storage area. If you can say, if your phone contains a lots of memory, then inbuilt memory, then you don't require the particular external storage, right? So files saved to the external storage are word readable and can be modified by the users when they enable USB mark storage to transfer the files on a computer. So right, those who are using the Android phones, then uh, they are aware of this particular method, right? Now, how you can check the availability of the media. So first of all, whenever you are running the code, then you have to check whether the particular external media is available or not, right? So before you do any work with the external storage, you should always call get external storage state. This particular method you have to call, and with the use of state, you can check whether the particular external media is available or not, right? Now, how to access the file on external storage? So if you are using API level 8 or greater, the use of get external files directory to open a file. So if you want to open any file, then you have to use this particular method that represents the external storage directory where you should save your files, right? So this method takes a type parameter that specifies the type of subdirectory. So in that, in which particular subdirectories you want to store. So you have a categorized one organized way of storing. So all the ringtones are stored into one particular directory, all the videos are stored into one particular directory, as well as all the musics or songs are going to store in a one particular directory, right? And you can pass null to receive the root of your application's file directory. Suppose if you don't want to go for this particular specific subdirectory or folders, then you can provide the null to receive the root directory, right? So this method will create the appropriate directory if necessary. So whatever directory name you are going to pass, so that particular directory is going to be created, and all your stuff is going to store into that particular directory. So by specifying the type of directory, you ensures that the Android's media scanner will properly categorize your file in a system, right? So for example, you storing the ringtones, then ringtones are identified as a ringtones, not a music, right? So there are some specific organized way to do this, and that particular ways our Android developers are providing us. If the user uninstalls your application, this directory and all its content will be deleted. Now, accessing files on a particular external storage. So there is another way, right? So if you are using API level 7 or lower, then use get external storage directory. So you have to check over here which API level you are dealing with, right? And according to that, you have to choose the appropriate method to access the files. Okay. You should then write your data in the following directory. So there is a default path over here. So in Android, data, package name, and the files. Into that, your contents are going to be stored, right? Now the package name, what is package name? So package name is your Java style package name, such as whatever we are providing whenever we are creating the particular application, right? So it is in a reverse manner, like com.example.android.app. And if the user device is running API level 8 or greater, then they uninstall your application and the directory and all its content will be deleted. So you have to carefully decide what API level you are going to use, and according to that, you can choose the particular method for accessing the files. Now, whatever saving files that should be shared, if that is going to be public, if you want to create anything in the public, right? So if you want to save the files that are not specific to your application, right? And that should not be deleted when your application is uninstalled. So sometimes what we require, some applications data, some data we want to share across multiple applications, right? So in such case, if you uninstall one application, then that particular shared data should not be deleted, right? So what you need to do, so save them to one of the public directories on the external storage, right? So two things you can do, whether you can go for the private one and you can go for the public one, right? That is the shared data. So these directories lay at the root of external storage, such as music, pictures, and ringtone. So if you observe that these are the default folders available with us, okay, right? So you can do the stuff in that. In API level 8 or greater, use get external storage public directory. So this is another method that you need to use, and passing it the type of public directory you want, such as music, pictures, ringtones, and others, right? And this method will create the appropriate directory if necessary, right? Now, if you are using API level 7 or lower, then use get external storage directory to open the file that represents the root of external storage, and then save your shared files into the particular following directories. So these are the following directories, default directories we have. One is for music, podcast, ringtones, alarms, notifications, pictures, movies, and downloads, right? So these particular folders, with in that particular folders, your media, your data is going to be stored according to the categorized manner. Okay, so this is the particular external storage, you can say, theory concepts, right? Now let's create one example, okay, and how we can store the particular data in a specific directory on external storage. Let's execute the code, right? So you will get the particular idea. So the same UI I have used over here. You can see in last internal storage demo, we have used the same concept. We have one edit text, load data button, save data button, and one text view. But here what we are going to perform, instead of storing our data in phone memory, we are going to store the data on external storage, right? So first of all, you have to deal with the particular thing that whether the external storage or media is available with you or not. Okay, so that you have to first of all decide. Okay, so by default in the emulator, okay, we have the SD card enable, external storage enable, right? Suppose if you don't have, then you have to configure your emulator in such manner, right? So right now I'm using API level 28, right? So in most of the case, latest API and Nexus 5 phone I am using, right, as an emulator. So in this particular thing, I have the particular SD card available, right? So let's first of all see what kind of permissions you require. So if you want to deal with external storage, right, then you need to require these kind of permissions to set within the Android manifest file. This is compulsory, right? So which first permission you need? So here you just directly here you can type that use this permission name, and then you can directly provide the right. Okay, so write external storage, and similarly you can provide the particular thing that another one is the read external storage. So we want to perform two operations, though first is read and another one first is write, and then another one is the read operation. So the very first step, you have to set these kind of permissions for external storage. Okay. Second thing, then you have to go for the UIs, right? In a UI, if you see, there is a very simple UI I have used, right? And similar logic we have. I have created two functions. One is the save data, another one is the load data function, and I'm calling it by on click. So without setting the on click listener, I'm just directly creating these functions in my main activity. So let's go to the main activity first, right? So here you can see in my main activity, I have executed this code. Okay, so let's understand what is this particular logic, how you can create it. So at the very first step, what you need to do, you need to attach your widgets or your views into this particular main activity. So first I have one edit text, I have one text view, and I have two buttons, right? So, okay. So right now I am concentrating on this. And after that, you have to use find view by ID, and you can see I have attached that particular, I have created my object. Okay, and I attached my view that particular with that particular object. Now, which file I want to create and at where that particular file I want to store. So for that, I have created two variables. One is a file name, another one is the file path, right? And right now, the content also I'm going to, which content I want to store in that particular file. So for that, I took three variables. First is a file name, second one is a file path, and third one is the file content. Okay, now what you need to check. First of all, my file.txt file, I want to create this particular file. Where? At root, my files folder. So in this my files folder, I want to create my file.txt file. Okay. Now, as I told you that, first of all, you have to check whether the external storage is available or not. Okay, whether your SD card is available or not. So for that, this particular thing you have to write. This is a very simple logic. Is external storage available? Not, then disable the save button. Disable the save button. So if in your phone the external storage is not available, then by default your save button is going to be default not enabled. Okay. Now, how to check that? So this is a function I'm calling from this if loop, and here is the logic. So it is returning a boolean, whether it is a true or false, and according to that we are enable and disable the particular save button. Okay, now what is the logic behind this? So first of all, one variable I'm going to create external storage, right? And I'm getting the external storage state. So whether your SD card is mounted or not. Okay, so I am checking the state of my external storage. So that is that particular state I'm storing in this variable, external storage variable, and then I'm comparing it. with my media mounted. So environment dot media mounted. So if my external storage equals to mounted, then return true, otherwise return false. If it returns false, then my save button is disabled. If it is returned true, then my save button is enabled. Okay. So this particular logic you have to compulsory write whenever you are dealing with the external storage. Yes, of course, we have to first of all check whether the particular thing is available or not, whatever we are working with. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the save data logic and load data logic. So first of all, we are going to save the data and then we are going to load the data. So at the initial, I'm going to clear the set text, text view. So tv.setText equal to null. Okay. Now which content I want to store? So here I told you that we have one edit text. So whatever message we are going to, whatever thing we are going to provide in edit text, so that is our content. That content I want to store where? So my file name, my tag, my file.text, and which directory? So file path, my directory, right? So these particular values we have provided over here. We have provided over here. Now, if file content not equals to null, right? Then here you can say file external. So here we are using a file concept. Again, we are going to deal with the file output stream compulsory for writing, file input stream for reading. Okay. So now here you can see we have used get external files directory, right? And into that two parameters you need to pass. One is one parameter you need to pass, that is a file path. Which file? Directory. And in a file constructor, we are providing a two path. So this is a directory and this is the particular file name. So it will fetch the particular directory name. Now to write the data, we are using file output stream. Again, it is a file input output concept. So you have to compulsory write your logic within try catch block. So file output stream is equal to new file output stream. We are passing our content external file over here, and with the use of this write method, we are writing the content onto this particular file. Okay. Once the content is written, again I am clearing the edit text and displaying one message that my file saved on SD card. My file saved on SD card. Here I am just making it long instead of short, right? So this is very simple logic to write the data in a specific file at the specific location. Okay. Now we are going for the logic for reading the data. Okay, again, same thing we need to do, but here we are going to use file reader class, right? So you need to create the object of file reader class. And again, you need to create file construct. You need to call the file constructor, provide the directory path and file name, right? After that, here we are using again a string builder class, right? So with the use of string builder class, we can use the append method over here. Now, file reader logic is very simple here. We are going to create the particular constructor of file reader. We are passing our file name and path name. We are using a buffer reader, right? Now, here buffer reader dot read line. So line by line, we are reading our data. While string not equal to null, you need to read the data as well as you need to append the data. So my data is going to be read by line, and after that I am putting a slash n. So if my paragraph is long, then you can imagine that, right? Now here we are using buffer reader dot read line. And finally, we are going to put that particular content into the text view. So here I'm using string file contents to display the data. Whenever I'm loading the data, so that data is going to be displayed in my text view. So tv.setText and into that file contents, right? So this is a simple logic for reading and writing. You can imagine that whatever internal storage logic is there, so both are very similar to each other. Okay, right. So this is a very simple way to create a content, or you can say create a file in a specific location on external storage, right? So now let's execute this code and see how this application is behaving. Okay, yes, so this is my particular data, right? So here I need to enter one message that welcome to storage files, right? So this particular data I have provided over here. I'm just saving that data, file saved on SD card, message you can see over here. I'm just loading the data. So you can see that welcome to storage file is there. Okay, right? So this way you can store the data and load the data into your external files. So now let's see where this actually file is going to be stored. So okay, you just need to go into the again tool windows, and in a tool windows you can just navigate to device file folders. Okay, and into that just you can go to the particular storage. Okay, in Android data, yes, external file storage we have. Okay, so in that one files folder will be there default. Okay, this is our root folders. File folders, we have a root folder, right? In that we have created one directory, that is my files directory, and into that directory our myfile.txt file is going to be created. Now let's save this file. Okay, and saving on desktop. Okay, and just open the content. Let's see our content is there or not. Yes, welcome to storage file. Whatever we have executed over here, so that particular content we have in this particular file. In this particular file, you can see that in emulator we have welcome to storage file, and again we have welcome to storage file in our text file, right? So this way you can create the particular simple files for external storage, so this location you have to remember. In this particular, here you can see arrows are sad areas, right? So you can see, let it come in the particular, you can say device file explorer. You have to just remember this folder where you have to find the particular files, right? So this is our link target SD card. Into that you have to go to the Android. Into that one data folder is there, and into that you have to find your application folder. In that one files folder is going to be created, and in that our directory and file is going to be created. So this way you can store, you can see the data. Okay, right? So another way is that we have emulated, and here you can find one zero directory and you can find, but right now we don't have permission to access this, right? So this is a symlink for that. So you can just navigate to SD card and you can find the particular data. Otherwise your data is going to be stored in this emulator because we are using emulator, right? But this is a syslink is provided by default for this to find our external data storages, right? So I hope this particular topic is clear to all of you, right? And you can create this kind of applications in your future work. Okay, right? So this is up to this. Today we are going to cover, right? And we are going to see SQL database, SQLite, how you can create a CRUD application using SQLite database in our next session. Okay.